Welcome back to Crazy Cool Crochet, and this video is Crochet for Beginners Part 3. In Part 1 we learned the foundation chain stitch, how to do that. We learned how to do single crochet, and in Part 2 we learned how to add additional rows on your single crochet, and today we're going to learn the half double crochet. Okay, so we're going to start with the slip knot, where you take the yarn, you just twist it on itself like that, so the front is sticking out here. You take the front yarn, put it through the loop, hold on to the two ends, and pull the loop tight. Put the hook in, pull on the longer loop or the longer strand, and it tightens up the loop on the hook. Okay, now we're going to go ahead and do 12 chains. So if you recall, the hook goes to the front of the yarn, going back, then you twist it so that the hook grabs onto the yarn, pull it through the loop. Yarn goes in front, hook goes in front of the yarn, twist it so it grabs the yarn in the hook, pull it through. Now remember how you're supposed to hold the yarn. What I find easiest is to put the yarn behind the pinky finger, and then wrap it around the front of the index finger. Then you hold the work with your thumb and your third finger, and that controls everything. Okay, so let's keep going with the chains. It's 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Now for the half double crochet, you start on the third chain from the hook. So there's 1, 2, 3. So you yarn over to grab the yarn, hook it, stick it into that third chain, and you yarn over, grab the yarn in the hook again, bring it through the chain so that you've got 3 loops on the hook, just like you do for a double crochet. But this is a half double. So now what we do is yarn over, hook the yarn, pull it through all 3 loops, and that's a half double. Let's do that again. Yarn over, go into the next chain, insert the hook, yarn over to grab the yarn with the hook, pull it through the chain. You've got 3 loops on the hook, yarn over, pull through all 3 loops, and that's a half double crochet. Now if you recall, and hopefully I don't get you confused with this, I just want to show you the difference. So with the double crochet, you would yarn over, go into the chain, grab the yarn with the hook, pull it through. You've got the 3 loops on the hook. But with the double crochet, you would yarn over, pull through 2 loops, and then yarn over, pull through the last 2 loops, and that's a double crochet, because you do it twice. Okay, so now I'm going to unwind that, and we'll go back to the half double. Now I use the half double actually quite a lot. I like using it more than the double crochet for garments. So for example, if I'm making a sweater or a top, I like to use the half double because it's got less spaces in between, so it's not quite as see-through. Whereas with the double crochet, you've got a lot more spacing. So let's just keep going. Okay, so you're going to yarn over, through the chain, yarn over to pull the yarn through the chain, yarn over to grab the yarn, pull through 2 loops, yarn over, grab through. Now I just got you all confused because that was actually a double crochet. Let's try that again. Yarn over, insert the hook in the chain, pull through, yarn over and pull through all 3 loops. That's a half double. When you go through all 3 loops at once, it's a half double. Okay, now we're going to go all the way across, and I'm going to show you how to do a second row. Remember, the hook goes in front of the yarn, twist it, put only the hook through the chain. The yarn stays on the hook. Yarn over to pull through the yarn. Yarn over to pull through all 3 loops for a half double crochet. Pull through all 3 loops. Yarn over, insert, yarn over, pull through, yarn over through all 3 loops. Okay, here's the last chain. Through all 3 loops. You can tighten that up. Okay, now to do a second row, you chain 2 and then you turn the work. So for a single crochet, when you want to do a second row, you only chain 1. With a double crochet, if you want to do a second row, you chain 3. With a half double crochet, you chain 2 and then you turn. Okay, so we're going to go do a second row here. Insert in the space. Remember in part 2, I showed you how if you turn this around, you can see that the stitches you were creating with the half double actually creates a chain at the top. Chains with the V's. They look like V's. So when we're inserting the hook in the second row, we go under the 2 strands of the V's. Just like that. And then you pull through, yarn over, pull through the 3 loops. Yarn over, go through the space under that chain, pull through, yarn over, pull through 3 loops. And this is how you create the second row. Now I'm going to go ahead and finish this row so I can show you how to create a scarf, if you'd like, with all of these practice stitches. Now don't forget that last one. Remember, I showed you before, you might think that's your last space right there, but then you're going to end up with this hanging out, so that's not correct. You want to make sure that you're getting that last chain there. So there it is. Put the hook in through there. Let's yarn over first. The hook goes in there, pull through, yarn over through the 3 loops, and now that's a clean edge. It's nice and straight. Okay, so let's say you want to practice making a scarf. Okay, so if you want to do the third row, chain 2, turn, and do it again. You can keep going, and I would actually suggest that you keep going with just half doubles just so you get used to the stitch. Then, after you get bored with that, you can incorporate different stitches. So for example, let's say you've got 2 rows of half double. We're going to chain 1, turn our work. Let's do some single crochets just to change it up a little bit. Okay, so we skip that first space. We start with the second. We just put the hook in the space, yarn over, pull it through. You've got 2 loops on the hook, yarn over, through the 2 loops. That's a single crochet. We learned that in part 1. Okay, so let me just keep going, just so you can see. You can start incorporating a little design in your scarf, something nice and simple. And then one more in the turning chain. It just keeps it all even. Okay, now the way you do that, there's your starting chains. You put the hook into the chain, just like that. Now you can keep going with another row of single crochet. So you would chain 1, turn, start in that second space, and do another row of single crochet. And if we stop there, again, it's going to be all lopsided. So don't forget to go in that very last space. There we go. So now I've got 2 rows of half double, 2 rows of single. Now let's go back to the half double. So now we chain 2, turn, yarn over into the second space, yarn over through all 3 loops, and keep going. You could do this any way you like. 2 rows of half double, 1 row of single. You can throw in the double crochet that we learned in part 2. Just play around with it till you get used to it. Now let's say you did a nice long, wider scarf and you want to finish it off. Here's our last stitch here. Okay, so now to finish off, you would yarn over for a chain, pull up a loop, take your scissors and cut it off. Always leave a tail. Okay, put that through to tie it. And then we weave in the ends, just how they call it. So here you've got your tail from your starting chain. You can't just leave these hanging out. So some people like to use this type of a yarn needle with a nice big opening that's wide enough to let in the yarn. Okay, let's keep trying until I get it in there. There we go. Okay, so some people like to weave in their ends. Let's say this is the back of your work, and they will take the needle and just go through a whole bunch of strands, and then they pull the yarn through. There we go. And then they cut it off. After it's gone under a few strands, they cut it off. Okay, I don't particularly like that method myself because you've still got the chance that this can just come right through. So what I do when I weave in the ends is I take the hook, I grab the strand, I bring it through. I'll bring it through a few strands, maybe 2 or 3. And just bring it on through. And then I will tie it. So I'll bring the yarn through that loop, pull it, and then tighten it for a knot. As long as it's on the wrong side, you're not going to see the knot. And I usually do that at least 2 times so that it's nice and secure. This way, if the garment gets washed or the item gets washed, the knots won't come undone. See, so I just tighten it and then cut the end off. And that's not going anywhere. So go ahead and practice. Have fun with that, and then we will work on a different stitch in the next tutorial.